Hi, this is Nanette Hosenfeld with the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Monday, February 12th, 2018. Looking at precipitation over the past 30 days, you can see that it's been quite dry. The map on the left shows observed precipitation, and really it's just been the higher elevations of Idaho that have seen really any significant precipitation. The map on the right shows how this precipitation compares to normal, and pretty much the entire Great Basin is below normal, as you can see from the reds and the yellows on that map on the right. So really sad precipitation over the past 30 days. Looking at snowfall, there has been some new snowfall across the Great Basin over the past 72 hours. Again, mainly the higher elevations, although some lower elevation areas in southwestern Idaho did see snowfall. Amounts were generally less than a foot across the Great Basin. As far as snow depth and snow cover across the Great Basin, you can see from the map on the right that it's really just the higher elevations of the Great Basin that do have that snowfall, the snow cover. And if you look at Nevada, it's quite apparent that those mountains are quite dry. So it's been very disappointing winter across the Great Basin. Just a little more on that note, this map on the left shows a snow water equivalent at the SNOTEL stations in the area. The orange is 75% of normal, and then as you get into the darker oranges and the red, that's 50 and 25% of normal. So if you look across the southern part of the Great Basin, you can see some of the stations in southern Utah and far western Nevada are 25% of normal for snowfall for the year. So really a very dry winter. The images on the right show how this is tracing compared to normal. The blue line is a snow water equivalent this year, and the red line is what we typically see across the winter in these areas, and you can see how far below normal we really are. The satellite today shows a disturbance in place across the northern part of the Great Basin. That will bring some unsettled weather to the northern part of the area, but nothing too significant in the way of snowfall. So looking at the upper air pattern today, you can see that moisture in place across the area. Ventilation index is pretty good across most of the area with good to excellent mixing. Looking at that in a little more detail, you can see some of those elevated transport winds and mixing heights that help with that good mixing. As we move into Tuesday, we do see that system close off and move to the west, and with high pressure moving in place overhead, you can see that the ventilation index does decrease on Tuesday. And looking at that in a little more detail, you can really see those mixing heights plummet on Tuesday. As we move into Wednesday, we start to see another system drop into the Great Basin, and that will clear the air out. We look at improving ventilation indices on Wednesday. And with that system, we will see some increasing transport winds. So looking at the 3-day forecast clearing index from the Salt Lake Weather Service office, you can see that similar trend with good mixing Monday and Wednesday, and that day of port-of-air mixing on Tuesday. Over the next 3 days, much of the Great Basin will see precipitation, although water totals will generally remain below a half an inch. As we move into Thursday, we will see northwesterly flow across the area, and that will result in good to excellent mixing across many areas. And then as we move into Friday, we start to see high pressure building again, which will decrease the ventilation index. As we move into Saturday, we start to see winds increase ahead of the next system that is potentially going to impact the Great Basin over the weekend. So you can see that ventilation index improve a bit. And then on Sunday, pretty similar conditions. Looking in the 4 to 5 day period, not much in the way of forecast precipitation across the Great Basin, just northern Idaho that could see some of that precipitation. Finally, in the 8 to 14 day outlook, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for below normal temperatures across the majority of the area, but unfortunately they are calling for a continuation of that below normal precipitation. So that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Our information is on the screen, and you can also find us on Twitter. Thanks.